On today's video, I'm going to share with you everything that happened in my business during 2019, and it's been a crazy year, so this is going to be a wild ride. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, what's up? I hope you had an amazing end of the year, took some time to relax with your family, to reflect on what happened last year and what you want to happen this year. Sorry for, by the way, this whole under construction look, because we're going to be building up the studio here. So as they say in the web design lingo, site under construction. I hope everything will look fancy next week, hopefully. But today I want to talk about everything that happened during 2019. And it's been a crazy year because it's actually has been a transformative year. My business completely changed. Over the past few years, when I did kind of a yearly review and shared how much money I made, it was mainly my business was me doing freelance business. And this year, it's been a year that the majority of my business, like most of my business, has been actually running an online school for designers. So I can't actually say that I'm running a freelance business anymore, even though I did have a big client project this year. I don't feel like this is the type of business that I'm running. But I still hope that you'll be able to learn from how I review, hearing what happened in my business, what went right and wrong. So let's dive right into this. So let's start with generally what happened in my business in 2019. So first of all, I only took one client during this year, but it was a huge project. It was actually turned out to be a $48,000 website. It actually started as something like $20,000, $30,000 website. And then it just grew and grew with other phases of the project that I did not anticipate at the beginning. And it ended up taking the whole year. We've actually relaunched the phase 2 of the project just a couple of weeks ago when it was supposed to finish at April. So this project ended up taking the whole year for me with one client. They're called Pretentex. I did a big case study on the first phase of the project. And you can probably watch the video here if you haven't seen it yet. So this has been the only client that I worked with during this year. And it's been a decision to actually not take new clients so that I can focus on my education business. And I think that this focus has been really important to allow for the growth that we had in the educational business. If I would keep taking on projects, I wouldn't be able to focus and actually grow that business. One other thing that did happen this year, which kind of like it is, you can call this client work, but it's also kind of educational business, is I did a live Webflow training in Kiev this year. This was a 3-day training. I also did a video about this, so if you haven't seen, you can click here to see it. It was 3-day training, which I think they paid something like $20,000 or $25,000 for. I don't remember. But I did train a full team of a marketing agency, taught them how to use Webflow because they're building like so many landing pages, and now they can do it so much faster. That was a good experience in terms of client work because you go there and do this live, but then it's also teaching people. So I kind of see it as a kind of part of my educational program, even though I don't do these live trainings anymore that much because most of my teaching is online. Doing it in person was actually a cool experience. Also, you get to see on the faces of the students if they understand or don't. So it actually helped me kind of finesse and better teach people because you see where they're struggling with. So that's one thing that we also did this year. I've launched a new course this year. So I've launched my first course, my masterclass, my Webflow masterclass in the late of 2018. And most of this year I was focusing on growing it, updating it, and just, telling people about it. But in the Q3, so around September, I've launched a new course, which is called the 10K website process. Forgot to mention the word process here on the deck. Anyway, I launched that course and it was really successful in terms of, first of all, a lot of people who are not interested in Webflow are interested in web design. And so this course had a broader appeal, I would say, in the market, but also so many people of my students already. I think like over 20% of the people have bought it on a pre-sale before it was even published live, just on the first 24 hours. So people were really engaged in buying it, my current students of the Webflow Masterclass. So that launch of this new course has been phenomenally successful, way more than I actually anticipated it. So that was a very big success. Overall, this year we had 2,050 new students in both classes. So I think this is a really good. I mean, I don't know. I think I had kind of a goal for 2,000 students, but yeah, basically that's what I was aiming for, and we basically reached that. In terms of revenue, we did $750,000. Now, I know in the last few videos where I shared how much money I earned, and again, my business was a freelance business, so the assumption was that this is all the money that I made and this is all the money that I took home. When you're freelancing, that's more or less the case, but now I'm running a different type of business, and I'm considering the business. I'm running the business differently. So the full-time employees of the business is called actually Flux Life Ltd, based in Israel, and the full-time employees of that business is myself, my wife, and we're getting salaries, just like fixed salaries from that business, and we have a lot of other expenses like this office, like a lot of the software that we use, a lot of the freelancers that we hire, a lot of services that we get. So at this point, the way that I'm looking at revenue doesn't really matter anymore. What really matters is profit, because, and I'll talk a little bit more about ads later. You can say that you've made a lot of money. You've made $1 million, but if you paid on ads $2 million, then it doesn't matter that you made $1 million. You still lost. So what really matters is after you pay yourself, after you pay everybody else, how much is left as profit. And for us this year, it's been 20%. So after we paid for ourselves, for my salary, for my wife's salary, for all the food, vacation, rent, everything else, we still had 20% left. And I think this is pretty good for where we are right now. Obviously, ideally, I'd like to improve it, but I think as a benchmark, it's for business at our size, I think it's pretty good right now, and we're happy with this. We're going to try to grow it next year, but for now, I think it's pretty good. Also, this year has been crazy. It's been the year with most vacation I ever had. We had 6 weeks of vacation, not in a row. I mean, we had, when the Jewish holidays were in Israel, we went to 3 weeks straight. Like, that was the longest vacation I took since my honeymoon. So we went to Thailand with my wife and the kids, and that's been phenomenal. Besides that, I also had 1 week of snowboarding and 1 week with my family, with my parents. We went to Greece, and we had another one over in Passover where my wife and the kids went to Greece, to a different place. So this has been really, really, I think it's incredible that we were able to actually pull in that revenue while we took a lot of vacation, way more than we usually take. But I want to mention one thing, just because a lot of people, and I got this in a lot of messages and DMs over on Instagram, a lot of people mention the passive income. I just want to say up front, there is no such thing as passive income. And every time that we went on vacation, you could really clearly see the dip in revenue, because, getting new customers, whether it is, doing content or whatever it is you do to bring in new customer, that takes a lot of active effort. Servicing those, supporting the students and then the customers or whatever takes a lot of effort, and building new products or maintaining the products that you already have takes active effort. And when you're away, when you're not doing that, you can see the revenue dips. And I think that's how it is in my business right now, because that business is basically me and my wife. I think going forward, one of the things that we'll put a lot of effort in 2020 and the years to come is to build a team that it's not only up to us. So if I take a vacation, the business can sustain and even grow, because it's not only depend on how much effort Ron puts in the business. But the way things are right now, when the business is very lean and it's us, when we go on vacation, there's a big dip in everything in our business. So that's basically what happened in 2019. Let's talk about what went right. So obviously, those are great figures for, let's say, 2-person business, and the business grew organically. I kept doing YouTube videos. I tried mixing up the format a little bit, and Instagram grew up by a lot this year. So Instagram is on fire. Instagram growth is really, doing really, really well. And I think I understood how to produce good content for Instagram, something that I really struggled with. And I think I didn't want to do this for a long time. I only wanted to delegate this. I wanted somebody else to take the videos I do on YouTube and create Instagram content off them. So I try to avoid doing this. But once, I think later in the year, I was like, I gave up the idea of giving it to somebody else and I tried to do it myself and learn how to do that myself. I really think it's really clicked. And now Instagram is really, really growing rapidly and driving a lot of traffic. So that went really, really well. The other thing that went right is that people are actually really, really happy with the courses. And that we can see that, first of all, in the, purchase rate of people buying again from us. So as I said, over 20% of our customer bought again within the first 24 hours when we gave them an opportunity to pre-purchase something that doesn't exist. They trusted us with their money, meaning that they're happy with what they're purchased. Now we're doing surveys to know, net promoter score, how happy people are, and we're doing surveys basically to know how happy people are, and we're getting testimonials all the time, and we know that people are super happy. So that's something obviously critical. If you want the business to succeed, you need to know that the product is good, that people are getting results, and happily that's what we're seeing. So that was really nice. One thing that happened this year is I started delegating some of the work. So as I said, we still don't have a core team of full-time employees, but I do have people that I work with on a regular basis. So we have Nick, who's editing the YouTube video, which we've started working in the early 2019, and that collaboration has been really successful. I'm working with Fabiana. She's a writer from Sweden, and she's helping me with sales pages and copywriting and stuff like that. I'm really, really helpful. Happy working with her. I have Matic. He's in Slovenia. He's helping me up with analytics. So I have a bunch of freelancers around the world where I'm working with them. We already have good working relationships, and I know that if I need something, I can trust these people to do that. So that's really, really helpful. Last year, like in 2018, I did everything myself, and I had to do a lot of things where it wasn't my core, let's say, strengths to do them, but I kept doing them because I wanted control. I wanted to do everything myself. Now in 2019, where I started to delegate some of the work to other people, that allowed me to be much more productive and work on things where I can really, really bring value. So that's really nice. What went right? So as I said before, content on YouTube and Instagram works, and we understand that this is how people find out about us. This is how people we gain their trust. We help them. They like us. They trust us, and then they purchase from us. So for us, this actually works now as a marketing channel. I started this YouTube channel without ever thinking about selling anything, or just because I was passionate about sharing my journey, and I still am passionate about sharing my journey. But as I transitioned from running different businesses or doing freelance into, content production and selling courses, now this actually turned into a marketing channel. So now I have to actually look at the numbers and think about, performance and stuff like that. But when I do, it looks really, really well. So it works for us. And then I think at the end of the year, one thing that I'm really happy about is the work-life balance. So I still maintain, when I started 2019, I had kind of personal goals in terms of I wanted to work out 3 times a week to keep being in shape. I wanted to spend every morning and evening with my kids for at least 70% of the evenings during 2019. I wanted to spend time and have kind of a weekly date with my wife, and all of these things happen. And so I think, in terms of, I ended up the year not too stressed, very, very happy with how things happened. So I think this is a really, really good success and good thing to stop and say, hey, you're in a really good place right now. And this is something that never happened before. Not that I didn't have the balance, but in terms of I was always struggling and always stressing out about a lot of things, finances and clients and a lot of things. And right now it's at a good place where I'm happy, I can execute. I'm still working very, very hard, but I love it and I enjoy it. And it doesn't hurt kind of the time that I spent with my family. So that's really, really good. All right, let's talk about what didn't went as good as we expected or what went wrong this year. So the first thing is that we spent tons of time and money, shitloads of money, I would say, on ads, mainly Facebook ads, but also, Google search ads and YouTube ads, trying to grow the business with ads. And that did not turn out to work, we didn't crack that. We didn't make this work. We didn't found a way to do this profitably and to scale profitably. We could get to a break-even point, in which point, as I said in the beginning, we could have spent $1 million to make $1 million, but then at the end of the day, we didn't have any profit left. We didn't have anything we would just basically give all our money to Facebook and Google and not have anything pay for ourselves. And I also came to understand that I don't really enjoy doing the ads that much. It requires, when I do content, I do passionately, I share and I teach, and that's kind of like what I really enjoy doing. When you're doing ads, it's something a little bit different. You have to be a little more hard sale and clickbaity and I didn't really enjoy taking the time to do the ads. I mean, I look at other people like AJ and Smart, for example, which are my friends, and they're doing ads, and their business really grows well with ads, and they're really good at doing ads. I see Jonathan, he's making brilliant ads. I actually love seeing the ads that he's doing, but I couldn't do that myself. It's just, I'm a different person, I guess. Now, I think that the reason that I went all in on the ads was because I see a lot of other businesses around me, specifically AJ and Smart, but other businesses in the, let's say, selling courses online, creating these kind of funnels where they drive traffic with ads and then, setting up their funnel in multiple ways and getting people to buy. So I saw everybody else is doing it and I wanted to do that myself. I think it was one, the effect of seeing what everybody else is doing and thinking that's the way to do things. And also, I think there was, I don't know if to say greed, but I really wanted, hey, okay, we have something that works. Now let's scale it as fast as possible and get it to as many people as possible. And the way to do that is using ads, because I can't create like 200 videos per day or whatever. So we try that. We spend a lot of money on that, but it did not work well. And now I'm at a point where I actually sat down and realized, hey, you don't enjoy doing this. It doesn't bring money to the business. So just focus on doing what you're good at doing, which is producing content for YouTube, doing content on Instagram. Just do that. Do more of that. Double down on that. You'll have more fun. You'll bring more value to your audience and you'll grow and you'll have more profit. So that's actually what we're going to do next year. I'm actually going to try to produce more and better content for YouTube and more and better content for Instagram. That's basically what the strategy is. All right. I did not manage, another thing that went wrong, I did not manage to hire a full-time employee. So pretty early in the year in 2019, I understood that the problem is that I don't have enough hours in the day. And as I said, I can't do, I am the only one at the moment producing content for YouTube, producing content for Instagram. I'm the only one answering questions for students. So I don't have enough hours to do that. And if I want to have more content, if I want to have more students, I just can't do that myself. And I understood that I need to hire people to support me in the different roles in the business, but I did not manage to do that. I think first of all, I don't know. I don't have that as a core skill, which is a strength. For example, producing content is really easy for me. Of course, I used to be bad at the beginning and now I'm better. But I think when it comes to hiring, when it comes to interviewing people, that's something that it's not my core strengths. I don't enjoy doing this. I'm trying to avoid it. And I think that because of those things, I didn't manage to grow the team. And now I understand if I do not solve this problem, this business is always going to be limited by what I can do myself. And you might say, somebody else might watch this video right now and say, hey, Ron, you're making a lot of money. Why do you need to scale it? Why do you need to have the headache of managing people? You're making good money. I mean, you can keep doing this and enjoy and take vacation with your families and whatnot. But honestly, I'm really passionate about doing something that is bigger than just me. I want to make better content. I want to make better courses. I want to make sure that my students have better transformations and results, and I cannot do this by myself. And I do feel like I'm so passionate about, I told you that we got 2,000 people to learn with us this year, but I'm like blown away by the opportunity. I'm like, there's like 1 million, if not people who we can teach those things, how to use Webflow, how to build websites, and it's going to transform their life. So I mean, I think it's not responsible not to do this. So that we have to do this. I mean, if I just, sit home and chill, I feel like it's irresponsible because we can help those people. We can help them get results and transform their life. So why not do that? So that's what we're going to do. So I didn't manage to do it this year, but this is one of my core problems and one of the core things that I'm looking to achieve next year. I started the podcast this year. I was having a really good time making it, and I quit halfway through the year just because it was really, really hard for me to maintain. Again, I'm alone, so I have to schedule, reach out to people, to guests, schedule interviews. Then, I'm based in Israel. A lot of them were based in the US. So I either have to stay up late or wake up super early. And it would kind of like hurt my family life in a way. So I just gave up in the middle. It sucks. I really wanted to make this work, and I really, really love doing this. Those conversations, you meet people. I really love making the podcast, but I could not sustain it at this point. Maybe when I have a team, maybe when other people will be able to help with all the technicalities and setup and everything else that goes into making a good podcast, we can bring that up again. But for now, at least the kind of format that we had of kind of guests talking on a podcast, that failed. I could not because people didn't like it, but just because I could not produce it. It just took way, 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 way too much time. So I had to give that up just in terms of focus. One thing that we are struggling with, and also we spend a lot of time and a lot of money trying to solve, is actually understanding what goes on in the business in terms of analytics and dashboards, and understanding like who's buying, where did they get from these people. We struggle a lot with this, setting up Google Analytics. We work with a tool called Wicked Reports. We were like struggling, putting data manually into spreadsheets. We still don't have that figured out exactly right. We still have to do a lot of manual work to understand what goes on in our business. Right now, my wife helped me do that. Otherwise, I would spend most of my day in spreadsheets. But we're going to be looking to automating this and fixing this year, hopefully, I think. One thing that we did this year is we started a US-based company. And the reason that we set that up is so that we can have Stripe. Stripe is basically the payment processing service. So in order for us to be able to get the money that people to pay us immediately and not have to pay a lot of fees, we had to set up a US-based company. We didn't have to do this. We could still use Teachable, which is the course platform that we're using. But I emotionally really wanted to have a Stripe account. I don't know why. I guess also looking at everyone around me in the startup ecosystem here in Israel. And I kind of felt like it's cool to have a US company and it's cool to have a Stripe account. This ended up being bullshit. Tons and tons and tons of legal work and accounting bureaucracy, which again, my wife Noah handled all of it, but it was a lot of mess. I don't know that it was the right thing to do. We're now in a very complicated setup where we have an Israeli-based company owning a US-based company, and it's just like, we didn't really have to do this. So I think we didn't initially, we thought we're going to save money and do more money because we don't have to pay fees. We end up maybe spending more money. So that wasn't really smart, but we did it, and hopefully long-term this will serve us. So my big takeaway from this year is that it's not all about me, and I need to get over myself. For a lot of time, and I had this discussion, is, if I stop doing client work, I'm not going to be good enough as a designer. And also I'm going to feel like a fraud because I'm not doing design work anymore. I can't share if I'm not doing the actual work anymore. And it was all about me. I need to do this. I need to create the YouTube videos. I need to create the tutorials. I need to create everything. And I need to understand, basically, I think I understood at this point, is that what really matters is getting people the results, getting our students the results. And if somebody can get the results better than me, then we should actually get other people to help. And I'll give one example, because next year I'm going to do a course on freelancing. And I do have great experience. I did build like a multi-six-figure freelancing business, but I only have the experience of what I did and what worked for me. And while that's helpful, for example, the way that I got clients is by referrals and building a network, and that might be very helpful for certain people, but there are other ways to do things. For example, people who are in places where they're having difficulties in building network, because I live in Tel Aviv, it's a tech city. It's very easy for me to meet other startups down the streets or actually in the office next to me. But people who are living not in tech startup cities, they're going to have a hard time building a network. But there are other ways to get clients. Some people build six-figure businesses on Upwork, and some people build six-figure in freelance on Instagram. So there are other ways of doing things. And I want to bring in all that knowledge so that other people will have the solution for whatever their situation is. So it's got to be more than me. It's not all about run, and my personal experience. It's about doing what works for you, doing what serves you. I think I talk too much. I think this video has become way too long, and I can't speak anymore. So I hope that was helpful for you. I'm looking forward to creating awesome work for you in the upcoming week, year. What week? I'll see you in the next video, and see you next time.